Ever feel like no matter how much you achieve, something still feels off, something still feels like it's missing? And objectively, you can be in a really good spot right now. You could be racking up wins. People can admire you. You can be in a position of leadership. And you're supposed to be happy. You're supposed to be fulfilled. On the outside, you have it all. But when you get alone, you still have days where you feel like blah, like something is off, something is gnawing at you. You don't feel as fulfilled, as confident, as happy, as free, and as sovereign as a man as you should. Well, fellas, a lot of driven men have this hidden fear that they're not truly enough. So in this video, fellas, I'm gonna dive several layers deep into how to truly accept yourself as a man so that you can live and be free and experience the exact kind of life that you want. Let's get into it. What is the first thing that's holding us men back, and how to truly accept ourselves? The first one is always gonna be, fellas, you have to unravel your self worth. Unravel your self worth. What do I mean by this? Many, if not damn near all men or people in general, find our worth in external sources of validation. You being an ambitious man, us being men who are driven, oftentimes we find our confidence, our self, our identity in achievements. And that's okay to a certain extent. You've achieved, right? And so you're confident. You're confident because you're competent. How many times have we heard that? But that only takes you so far. True self-worth and true self-confidence has to come from what? It has to come from your character, right? It has to come from self-awareness, because ultimately, through character and self-awareness is where you're going to find freedom. And why do I say that? If you're constantly focusing on getting wins to validate you, you're going to be stuck in this perpetual cycle of having to prove to the outside world so that you can feel adequate. When if you simply take the time to ponder as a man and do a deep dive, you're going to realize that, why do I constantly feel like I have to achieve to be validated? Why do I have to constantly prove to myself that I am the man that I say that I am, if I truly am that man? Well, when you take the time to ponder and you peel the onion layer back, you start to realize that that comes from, let me erase some of this here. When you think, why do I constantly have to achieve? Even if I'm a dominant man, right? I have all these things going for myself, but I still feel the need to constantly prove. I'm not talking about ambition here, fellas. I'm talking about something completely different. You feel that you constantly have to achieve, constantly have to prove. I can't rest. I haven't made it yet. And I get that mentality. That's the mentality I have, right? I need to achieve. I need to help my family. It's all on me. I've got to do this. I've got to maximize my life. I've got to, and all of this is true. But the catch 22 is oftentimes, if you peel the onion back, all of those desires come from lack and fear. They come from fear because perhaps you grew up in an underprivileged household and you have chips on your shoulders, like I do. And so you had to build this character in order to produce. I often talk about our alter egos as men. And so you have to produce. And on a deep level, you fear going back to zero. But here's the thing. The second you fear of going back to zero, you're living out of lack and your actions become straightly directed from lack. And so if you're constantly acting and moving from lack and fear, your reality is going to reflect that to you, and you're always going to fall back to baseline, right? This is called your paradigm. This is called your self-image. You need to learn how to move from a place of abundance, but more importantly, self-acceptance. Now, how do we do this? How do we move from, okay, I'm an ambitious man who makes good money, I've got things going for myself, but some days I just feel blah, right? We've discovered that I'm acting from lack and fear. How do I move from a place of true confidence and self-acceptance. It's the magic D word that I always say, fellas. And this shit's a motherfucker, but if you watch my content long enough, it's gonna keep coming up. Detach. You have to detach from the external world. Whatever it is that you find your self-worth in, right? Okay, let's say you finally do all of this work. I know who I am. I've done the work. I heal. I accept myself. Now let me detach from having to prove myself to anybody. I don't have to prove myself to anybody. I am who I say I am because I know who I am. I've done the work, and that's cool. So now, whenever somebody says something to you or some type of event happens or whatever, you're detached. And once you can learn how to master this detachment and you've eradicated, or at least for the most part, you don't live in lack and fear, because everybody feels lack. Everybody fears. This is natural, but when you bask in it, this is when it holds you back, right? Everybody's gonna feel this. But if you can practice detaching and moving freely as a man and accepting yourself as a man, look, I may have achieved all these things. I've got all these things going for myself. I'm not perfect. And hey, whatever happens in life happens. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to bounce back or whatever. I'm going to thrive because I know my character. I know who I am. Now you're fully aligned. Now you accept yourself. You see, I always talk about mastering uncertainty. And as men, we like control, especially highly achieving driven men. We like our lives to be orderly. We like our lives to be in a certain way. But you can't control everything. You can't control what the next motherfucker is going to say to you, do to you, right? It doesn't matter how many parameters you put around yourself. You're always going to be tried and tested. But if you can operate from a place of freedom and detach and find your self-worth in who you are, deeply rooted, once you've done the work to heal yourself, you're going to move with freedom because now you've truly accepted yourself. So fellas, this is the first way to accept yourself. I hope this made sense. Take the time to really digest this and come back to the material. Let's move into number 2. What's the second way to accept yourself and love yourself as a man? This is going to be face the impact of rejection. Most people are afraid of rejection. Everybody has been rejected. You watching this video, me, it's going to happen. Whether it's from a woman, an opportunity, everybody's going to have to face rejection. You have to look as rejection as just another catalyst to you getting what you want, to you growing as a man, to you evolving, right? In sales, they say it's a numbers game. Every no, every closed door gets you closer to that sale. You have to be able to build a certain amount of endurance and durability in your mind. And so many of us men, we walk around with shallow and low self-esteem. And so we have to overcompensate with physical things, right? But you have to learn how to accept rejection. It's a part of the game, fellas. You're going to get rejected. It is what it is. And oftentimes that rejection has nothing to do with you. It has to do with what that person's going through. Who knows what they're going through, right? It ain't about you. But oftentimes we internalize rejection and it triggers something inside of us from our childhood. Like, damn, I'm inadequate. I'm not good enough. I knew it. Even though I got all these things going for myself, she still rejected me. I knew I wasn't enough. I knew I was a fraud. This is the kind of inner dialogue that a lot of us men start to have in our minds. And you have to learn how to shut that bitch up in your mind and reaffirm, no, I'm exactly who I say I am. Just because she don't want to fuck with me, just because they didn't accept my proposal, just because this didn't go through, just because that dude snaked me, whatever the scenario is, that has nothing to do with me. I accept myself and I know exactly who I am. So you being able to face the impact of rejection, understanding who you are, and not taking it personal, building thick skin, building a thick mindset, and keep it pushing is ultimately going to help you accept yourself. There are many variables to this life, fellas, that we cannot control. And that frustrates the hell out of a lot of men. You have to move through this world freely. You can't be rigid. Oftentimes you get frustrated because something doesn't go your way. Okay, cool. That's life. You'd be amazed at how many grown men still have this baby mentality. You're going to get rejected. It's a part of life. You need to accept yourself and move with your confidence. Move as a man that's rooted in his identity, in your frame. And once you can do that, rejection is nothing because rejection comes with the territory. Let's move on to number 3. What is the third way to accept yourself? This is going to be, fellas, you need to identify your inner wound. You see, now we're getting real deep. Identify your inner wound. You know, some of the most confident people are the most hurt, have been the most hurt. You need to identify what your tics are. What triggers you? Why does it trigger you? Take a deep look back into your childhood when you were that little boy. What triggers you? Something that used to trigger me is when people would say that I'm passive, I talk low, I'm calm, I'm too calm, right? I've had women say that to me in the past. That used to trigger me. And I would try to inflect my voice and speak louder. But at the end of the day, I'm a calm dude. You feel me? I'm tranquilo. And I'm not gonna overextend myself or force myself to fit a mold of somebody else just because a woman wants to psychologically test me or somebody wants to psychologically test you. You've got to be rooted in your identity. And you can only do this once you figure out what your inner wounds are and triggers are. Oh my God, this is so good. So many of us men are trying to put on false facades. Let's talk about it. We wear masks in society, masks in our corporate jobs, masks with our clients, masks with our parents, masks with our friends. We try to be something that we're not. You have to learn how to be fully yourself, but you can only do that once you identify your inner wounds and you heal those wounds. I used to have a debilitating stutter, so that made me timid, even though internally I was extroverted, right? I became shy, passive. So whenever I was dating women as an adult and I had built this confident identity for myself and they said, you're pretty passive, you're pretty whatever, right? That triggered me. I didn't have to say it to her, right? But when I got home alone, listen to me, when I got home alone, I was like, damn, am I fucking timid? Am I this? Nah, I'm not timid anymore. I'm just calm and I know who I am. And I'm not gonna have to fit a mold. This is some real deep work that you guys have to do because if you're unable to do this, fellas, you're not gonna be as free as you want to be. You're not gonna be free men. So many of us men don't do this internal work. In fact, conversations like these are oftentimes considered taboo in the masculine space. Why are you talking about your feelings? Get money, do this, do that. The money is not gonna solve your problems, fellas, not all of them. Trust me. The money is not going to solve all of your problems. There are problems that are non-physical that you have to address. In fact, the reason why you're not at the level that you want to be financially right now, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, is because you haven't done this work. There are some wounds that you have to address. Us men have to face multiple battles on different planes of existence, not just physical, but psychological, spiritual. And if you can learn how to identify your inner wounds and finally heal yourself, now you're going to become what, fellas? Now you're going to finally become aligned. And an aligned man is a free man. And I guarantee you, most of you watching me right now aren't as free as you think you are. So I invite you to free yourself. If you're still struggling with simple things like identifying your inner wounds, tap that first or second link in my description or bio and book a call to work with me on a one-to-one level or join my community, Modern Day Renaissance Men. This is precisely the kind of work that we're doing every single day. Ambitious men mastering all facets of their life so that they can not only dominate, but they can sustain their dominance. You see, once you learn how to identify your inner wounds and your triggers, right? You address them and you work on them. This is deep work, and you heal them. Now you fully walk into your masculine frame. Now you fully walk into your identity as a man. And no medallion, no trinket, no external achievement, or no beautiful woman, whatever you're using to boost and inflate your ego, none of that is going to really free you. Rather, you've already freed yourself and you have dominion over your own mind because you've done the work to heal yourself and face yourself. Most of us men don't face ourselves. And so once you're able to do this, fellas, you'll now accept yourself and you'll notice how your life is streamlined and things just start to happen for you. It's so beautiful when us men figure out who the fuck we are and we own our entirety as men. Deals start coming through, people start coming into your life, and life becomes a lot more easy. Simply put. So let's move into number 4, fellas. What is the 4th way to accept and love yourself as a man? This one is fantastic, man. Let's get into it. The 4th one is going to be you have to redefine success. Now, I've said this before. Most of us are living identities that other people have constructed. In this digital age, fellas, it's easy to go on social media and see people on Instagram flexing. Guys are making $300K a month. Guys are doing all these different things. And that can make you feel inadequate. That can make you feel anxious. Like, damn, I'm 30 and I'm still not making 10K a month. Damn, I'm 40 and I'm only making 3K a month. Or these guys are doing all this stuff. What am I doing? Comparing yourself to other men. And we're very competitive. I understand that. But you got to be able to define what your version of success is. You see, I have a global perspective. I've lived all over the world. I speak multiple languages, as I've said before, and I have different perspectives on life. Success, to be honest, for every man is different. To one man, success might be making 100K a year. To one man, success might be making 5K a month. He has all his health. He can do what he wants. And he's living in Argentina to where that $5,000 a month goes a long way. It's multiplied by 5, right? Success could be you living on a farm with your wife and kids. You have to define, fellas, what success is for you and not let somebody else hijack your mind. Not get caught up in this digital age where people on Instagram are telling you that you got to be in this hustle culture. And I'm a very ambitious man, but I've had to figure out, what does true freedom mean for me? Not for you, not for the next guy. What does true freedom and success mean for me? For me, true success means having options. It means knowing my identity. I'll just put ID, right? Options in terms of being able to live wherever I want to live, multiple passports, educated multiple languages, making decent money. I believe if you are a single man right now and you make $8,000 to $15,000, you're living a fantastic life, right? Especially if you're leveraging your currency and living in different economies, like I encourage you gentlemen to do if you can, right? Knowing yourself so you're mentally and spiritually free, having options to do whatever you want to do, when you want to do it, with whoever. This doesn't take $50,000 a month. For real. To put it frank with you, you could be making $5,000 a month and living an extraordinary life. I've done it. When the rent is only $400 a month, you have so many options, so many countries and places that you can live. But you choose to get caught up that you have to be in Dubai. You have to be in New York City. You have to be in Miami. Nah, you got to be where you want to be. I bounce around between Latin America, Europe, the USA. I do what I want. And I learned how to define what success is for me. working on my mind, meditating, getting to know myself, martial arts, right? Building myself up as the modern day Renaissance man that I always sought out to be. This is deep work, fellas. And a lot of you are living the identities of somebody else. So once you're able to redefine success for you, you now accept yourself as a man and you start to move through this world more congruent, aligned, and more importantly, free. So ask yourself today, am I really as free as I think I am? A lot of you, you know that answer already. The answer is no. And if it is no, you've got a problem and you've got to figure it out. Because I promise you, you could be making good money right now. You can have all the worldly possessions, all the things that masculine men tell you that we should have, all the things that this new age digital world tells you that you should have. You can have the woman, you can have all the things. Uh-oh. But later at night, you know you're not fulfilled. You ain't got a lot of me. I know you very well because the majority of my audience is exactly where I was. So this is number 4. You need to redefine yourself. And until you do that, you will not be able to accept yourself as a man and move freely. Let's move into number 5. Now, what is the 5th way to love and accept yourself as a free man? This is going to be, and this is a very important one, this is going to be radical, keyword, radical self acceptance. What do I mean by radical? You're going to have to take violent action in order to aggrandize yourself in this reality, fellas. You're going to need to learn how to accept all facets of yourself. What do I mean? Earlier, I spoke about we wear different masks in society. We code switch, we adapt, we do all these different things. Even the parts of you that you don't want to show, the little boy, the innocence, or the lack thereof, the warrior, the conqueror, the intellectual, right? Whatever facets and sides you have to yourself, the ones that you don't show people, you're going to have to accept all aspects of yourself. We are multi-dimensional, eclectic men. And so many of you guys, you just wear this one mask, this one identity, right? For some of you, it's the tough guy. For some of you, it's the pretty boy. It's the suave dude, right? When really you're deeply insecure. For some of you guys, it's the boss, the dawn, right? For some of you guys, it's the poet. You need to embrace all these different sides to you. And until you do that, until you're not afraid to be your full self in public and be seen, most of you don't want to be seen because you're afraid of, again, rejection, not getting accepted. And this desire to be accepted is intrinsic. It comes from our primal nature of wanting to be accepted into the tribe. Because if we had a contrarian thought, it meant that we would have to defend ourselves with bloodshed, with violence, with physicality. But the catch-22 is until you can learn how to take radical self-acceptance, radical actions to look, this is who I am. And here's the thing, you don't have to like who you are. You just have to accept it. And then you can move forward. If you want to work on certain aspects of yourself, this is why we're here. But you have to accept it. You have to stop running from yourself. I had to accept that I did not like myself. I wasn't communicating the way that I wanted to. I wasn't making the money that I wanted to. I didn't express myself. I didn't want to fight. Yeah. I was afraid of a lot of shit. But I had to learn how to fight. I had to learn how to accept myself. I had to learn how to be assertive and dominant when I needed to be, how to project myself, how to command respect. And then I had to learn how to detach. You're going to have to do all this work, fellas, to become a complete man, the compassionate warrior, right? All facets of yourself. And until you take the radical actions, like for example, for me, I've gotten into martial arts. I'm studying different languages, different cultures. I put myself in different societies. I'm in a different society right now. It's uncomfortable when you don't know anybody and you have to go out and learn and make connections. I put myself in business, right? Like everything is on me. And because everything is on me, I've learned how to accept myself, love myself, and move freely as a man. I can rely on myself because I've done the work and I know exactly who I am. And this is a continual effort, fellas. So once you're able to take radical action towards your self-acceptance and accept all facets of yourself as a man, only then will you become a free, sovereign man. But until then, you'll be a fraction of the man that you need to be. And deep down, this is resonating with a lot of you watching this video because you know, regardless of what position you are in or perceivably in, you know that you haven't done this because there's facets of yourself that you hide. Let's talk about it. Let's say you are a black man watching me right now. And when you get around white people, there's certain things that you do. You conform, you speak a little bit different. And I understand, fellas, I'm talking about, we have to know how to move in certain contexts. That's not what I'm talking about. Let's say you're an Asian guy, and when you get around certain people, you're a white guy, when you get around certain people, or when you get around certain people that's of a different social economic background and you kind of hide certain aspect of yourself, or when you're around women and you hide certain aspects, whatever the case is, when you get out in public, you wear a mask and you're not proudly yourself. I'm proudly myself. And it took me years. And I really want to help you guys get here. So the fifth way to truly learn how to accept yourself as a man, free yourself, and move into your own divinity as a man is by radical self-acceptance of all facets of you. And only when you fully accept yourself will you be free. Let's move into number 6. The sixth way, fellas, to accept yourself as men is going to be cultivate inner security. Now, I felt like I spelled that wrong. I did. There we go. Cultivate inner security. How do you cultivate inner security? Well, everything I've previously spoken about. But you have to know how to stack micro wins. And micro wins are, for example, you keep your word to yourself. You honor your schedule. You do what you said you would do. You took the time to dive into that thing that you wanted to do, that thing that caught your attention that you've been putting off. You finally did it. And even if you do it for a day or two and you're not consistent, the fact that you did start to go in that direction, especially if it was something that's scary, give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a pat on the back. So, stacking micro wins and being congruent, and by congruent, I mean being aligned with the exact man that you want to be, is going to build deeply rooted confidence, right? And so now you start to cultivate inner security. When you keep your word to yourself and you walk in alignment with the man that you know you're supposed to be, you start to build that inner security, and that can't be taken away from you. In this modern day and age, everybody talks about aura, right? That's the new buzzword. Aura, right? Charisma, these things. These things are internal. It can't be given to you, at least not to a sustainable level, by external validation. Okay, so you might be a guy that gets a lot of pussy. You might be a guy that's getting money. You might have certain things. You might be tall. You might be buff, right? Whatever it is that you try to lean into to get confidence from. Let's talk about it. Whatever it is that you try to lean into to gain confidence from, you shouldn't have to lean to get confidence. You should be rooted and know exactly who you are. This comes from inner security. This comes from micro wins, affirming to yourself, congruency, taking the actions, embracing the tumultuous uncertainty of life. Life will fuck you up. It's meant to. But victorious is the man that can endure. And the more you endure, the more you affirm to yourself internally because you know who you are and you're rooted in yourself and you're congruent and you stack the micro wins and you allow yourself to feel all facets of emotions and you don't hide anything. You don't submerge anything. Today, I feel like shit. That girl rejected me. I don't feel good. I don't feel like my mom loves me. I don't feel like my dad loves me. I feel like a stranger in my own home. My wife doesn't respect me. I'm insecure about my dick size. I don't like my skin. I'm short. I'm broke. I'm fat. Yeah, I stutter. I'm not that intelligent. Whatever the insecurity is, face it. Face it. And if you don't like something about yourself, take a contrarian action towards building the exact reality and identity that you want. Because every single man watching this video can choose the kind of life that he wants to live. I did. So once you can learn how to cultivate this inner security, how to be congruent and take the actions towards the life that you want. Many of us, we say we want something, but then when it comes time to take the actions, we don't. Isn't that a fucking catch-22? And it's because your paradigm doesn't believe that you can actually have it. But once you start to just take the actions, even if it's just one footstep towards the direction you want, and you just keep stacking one footstep every single day, you're gonna look back one day and say, shit, look how far I've come. I really am 100% that guy. And that can't be taken away from me, fellas. So the sixth way to build true self-acceptance and self-love as a man, I know you guys are facing a whole lot of shit out here. Battles that most people don't even know. Trust me, I know. If you can learn how to cultivate your inner security, fellas, stack the micro wins, be congruent, you're gonna be a cold motherfucker.